Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of the Jaded Mechanic Podcast. We're at Raleigh, North Carolina, ASTA 2025. It's a beautiful Saturday day. And I'm sitting here with a good friend of mine, Bob Leonard. Bob, how are you?
I am living the dream. I'm doing good.
This is a great show, isn't it?
It's a great show.
Yeah.
I am very tired.
Yes.
It's nonstop.
I know. It is. And I like this morning, I woke up and I'm like, Jeff, you don't have a very good voice today. So I then had to proceed to find caffeine and a little bit extra water to get my voice back because it's a lot of talking, eh? Like
yeah. It's all the classes they want to be interactive. Yeah. They don't want to just stand there and be the sage. Yeah. So that's really been great.
Yeah.
Really.
And then for me, like this is not me bragging, but I mean, every time I try to, kind of move about from the venue to the back to the hotel and back and forth, you run into somebody that you know or you haven't seen or you've just talked to online, and then it becomes before you know it, it's a 15-minute conversation, right? So that's all, you're flexing that voice muscle again, and you're like, crap, by the end of the day, you're like, wow, it's a little dry in there. So, yeah, no big deal. Good coffee.
I've learned to bring throat lozenges.
Yes, yeah, for sure. So, Bob, you work for a company called Mobility Works.
Yes.
Yeah. What's that like? I mean, I kind of know, but share it with the audience because I think it's absolutely really cool.
Okay, so we're a company that sells and services vehicles for the physically disabled.
Yeah.
So everybody sees the big list for wheelchairs, school buses, retirement homes, whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, we don't really install those as much. We do a lot of service.
Right.
But the bigger part of our work is what they refer to as lowered floor minivans. And they're all Pacificas. Some Dodge Grand Caravans are still being done. The Honda Odyssey and the Toyota Sienna. And also a lot of equipment that allows them to drive. Hand controls. People drive from their wheelchairs. They'll go lock in.
Yeah. Some
transfer to special seats that come way back. I mean, all the way down, I like to say, as simple as a spinner knob, which everyone in this place has seen, to high-tech controls, which are fly-by-wire and can be a joystick.
Yeah.
And to this day, install a pucker factor.
Yeah.
when I drive.
Yeah.
I really have to think a lot because there's no physical feedback.
Yeah.
The hand controls, a lot of times I drive better than with my feet.
Yeah.
But the high tech, it's weird.
Yeah.
So, and everything in between. And basically one of our concepts is we never say no. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't determine what equipment. There are certified evaluators that basically write a prescription.
Right.
Here you go.
Yeah.
And now we only do what that says.
Right.
So if the customer says, well, what about call the evaluator, have them add a line, don't care.
Has laid it
email
out exactly.
It,
yeah.
as long as it's in our records.
Yeah.
Because we have to operate under certain rules by NMETA. And that's the organization we answer to.
No, what's NMETA?
NMETA is the National Mobility Equipment Dealers Association.
Gotcha. Okay.
I always mess that up. I always tell guys, like, everyone knows NHTSA. Mm-hmm. So if you just think of down a step and over to the right.
Yeah.
Except that it's voluntary, but you have to play by the rules.
Right.
So some of the rules, all the techs in our company are certified. Anything they install in that store, you have to be certified by the company. And a lot of that is on the web.
Right.
Whatever.
Yep.
It's every 2 years you recertify.
Wow.
We are audited every year. They will come in and pull 3 to 10 installs blindly out of the file cabinet.
Right.
And
look at them.
They will look at them, and every T has to be crossed, every I dotted. They do have the power to shut you down. Wow. Or take away that certification, approval for whatever. Now, there's really no reason for that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Every store, and I'm only speaking for Mobility Works.
Right.
There's other companies, but every store knows they know the deal.
Yeah.
This is what you have to do. So if you follow, and a lot of it might be basic automotive service stuff that some guys know. But if I walk up to a guy and say, hey, I'm going to install something, how close does the fuse or circuit breaker had to be to the power source.
Promotive started because a couple industry friends and I were hanging out, and we realized that the number one challenge all the shops that we worked with for many decades faced was finding technicians. You hear technician shortage over and over out there, and we're not bringing kids into the industry today, and there's thankfully lots of other companies out there who do focus on that. But we believe that part of the technician shortage is the leakage coming out of the funnel. The people that are working with shops or dealers that aren't treating them right, they're just paired with the wrong environment, with the wrong owners. The technicians, instead of looking for new jobs and new opportunities, decide to leave the industry, or they get jaded on it. And we believe that there's a fit out there for the right techs with the right shops. And if we do that, then they're going to stay in the industry, and we're going to help, at the end of the day, the shortage by keeping technicians in the field. Promotive started just by realizing there's really not that many resources for technicians. Of course, there's certifications that they can get, and they can advance their skill set by doing hands-on training, or they can advance their skill set by testing, but there's not that many companies out there focused on making the technicians more successful in other areas. For example, knowing what their career path can be if they don't want to stay as a technician in the future.
They'll get a blank stare.
Yeah.
Well, SAE says 18 inches.
Right.
So we say 18 inches.
Right.
And things like that you don't really think about.
Mm-hmm.
We have to live by.
Now, in your, like, because I know you talk about, you do a lot of like installs on new pieces of the new, I'll say a new piece of equipment for a customer, but do you occasionally get something that's been like touched by other hands and you guys have to go back in and fix it?
Yeah.
How is that?
Oh, yeah. you can come to the talk this afternoon. We can have that talk. You'll see a real example of it. But do mechanics make mistakes? Yes.
Right.
If humans weren't involved in the automotive industry, I would not have a job.
Right.
Okay, I would be
Yeah.
selling insurance. It's fine, but if you don't know, look, the old rules, if you don't know what you're doing, maybe you
Don't
shouldn't
touch it.
shouldn't be touching it, taking bolts out,
Yeah.
stop,
Yeah.
walk away. And in our industry, it's a bigger thing. Look, I understand there's things under the dash that Jeff may have to get to. But if there's hand controls in the way, you need to call somebody and just say, what should I do? Or,
Yeah.
oh, you're 15 minutes away? Can you come over? Can I bring it up? Before you take it out, because once you've taken it out, it's like we're putting it in from the beginning again.
Right.
Okay, that's when the other one I just heard about, a guy, we were going back and forth. He found that all Chrysler products on the conversions, so the important thing is that the conversion module has to see the door fully open on that passenger side sliding door.
Yeah.
Now, Toyota and Honda put switches in.
Yeah.
Chrysler products never have.
Uh-huh.
They've always looked at the LIN bus, single wire. It knows the door counts.
Yeah.
So obviously they teach it new door counts. So our vans are closer to 49 on the Grand Caravans, I think. And the idea is because it's wider, they want it open more for the ramp. Well, somebody called, they was going crazy until we found out somebody had decided to bypass the module and put switches in to start, stop, and this and that. I'm like, I mean, when I was training, that was one of my trick questions. How do you adjust the door full open switch on a Chrysler product? And I'd see a hand come halfway up. I go, stop.
Yeah.
Just wait a minute. And somebody else will go, well, there isn't one.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So that's when the scan tool, if you need to find out where the problem is, get the scan tool out. You need to see if the door has the problem and go from there. But yeah, unfortunately, there are times.
Uh-huh. No, so at Mobility Works, when you guys are, is it a situation of like, okay, somebody has got a Sienna van and they need a particular modification done. Is it like you're able to go to a website of a manufacturer of that necessarily, or are you building a lot and wiring a lot from almost scratch?
Well, the vans themselves, let's just, the lowered floored minivans, they will come from one of the major conversion companies.
Right.
So, and I do this in the presentation, but I am not promoting anybody.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
I say things, but I'm just more familiar. So it may come in from Braun or VMI, comes off the truck. So the floor's been lowered, and the passenger sliding door opens. There's a ramp that comes out, and the right rear corner kneels so that the angle is lower.
So they can get
So
in.
that's there.
Yeah.
Now, anything after that, as far as, say, hand controls, lockdown, even a spinner knob has to come with that prescription.
Right.
They have to come, unless it's someone who has had it for several years. They have the car, show you. They just want to buy a new car, so they want to update whatever.
Yeah.
After so many years, and please, I think it's 10, they have to get another script or just get it renewed from the evaluator.
Yeah.
But if there's so there's 3 kinds of hand controls. There's mostly push, pull, push 90 of them, push rock. They don't get a choice. It'll come in saying which kind and all that when we get it. So we're putting in what was prescribed.
Right.
Most of after that, which is unique, is the person where how they fit, where they fit. I fitted 6-7 people in wheelchairs. My mother was 4'11".
Yeah.
It would not be the same placement
sure.
of the steering wheel, the controls, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's where.
Most automotive conferences, unfortunately, only focus on one side of the shop. But Tectonic 2026, presented by TechMetric, is different. It's built for the whole shop. Owners, advisors, and technicians all have sessions designed for the work they actually do day to day. It's 3 days in Houston, packed with workshops, panels, and over 1,000 people from the industry are set to attend. And you don't need to be a TechMetric customer to qualify. Hit up the link in the show notes below and check out Tectonic 2026. Register now while you still can to get the early bird pricing.
The differences are. But we don't actually do conversions.
Yeah.
Now, we do install full-size lifts.
Right.
Not as much as, I've done it, but not as much as, it's kind of rare. They seem to be coming from companies that do it all the time.
So when it's at Mobility Works, if people have the van and it needs servicing done, not related at all to their modifications, they just want a brake job, do they still come back to Mobility Works for that?
Okay, some people are like, the dealer sold me the vehicle.
Yeah.
That's the only people that can work on the vehicle.
Right.
We have those.
Okay.
Now, we have enough mobility work
Yeah.
to do.
Right.
That,
it's hard to be
oh,
able
God,
to...
I know the senior leadership will catch us wind of this one. They're going to yell and scream, because you know how it is.
Oh, yeah.
More.
Yeah.
But we're happy that Goodyear or whatever, or whoever's around the corner, just don't touch the conversion stuff.
Right.
And the way I explain it is, where your heel is,
Yeah.
at the gas, when you have your foot on the gas and your heel, from there forward, and the dash, and right at the back seat of a minivan, the floor.
Yeah.
Either end is fine.
Yeah.
Air conditioning's fine.
Yeah.
Okay? Brakes, tires, alignment, knock yourself out. It's great. Some of the suspension, you should double check before you put a McPherson strut or a shock. It might have been
Modified.
it might have been modified, or might be a different part number.
Okay.
Because they've lowered the frame or whatever to get around this lower body.
Yeah.
And you can usually just look at the part number that's stamped in it, call the parts house, have them double check. Right before they send you that Monroe or whoever does this cross-reference to the vehicle. A lot of it does now. So, we're happy to see that kind of done. But the other thing is, if we trade something's traded in, or wherever they get it, we have what's known as the NFS process. It's 160 points. If you buy something from us used, I'm going to tell you I'd stand behind it.
Right. Okay.
I'm not going to say, oh, it's used car lot or whatever, and
Yeah.
they pushed it, or it's it came from the auction. No. If we don't think it's reasonably to fix, and it could be just cost. It's
Yeah.
not cost effective. All the money it needs, we'll wholesale it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's outside of our zone of being responsible.
Right.
But we do a lot of that in house, where we go bumper to bumper. So if somebody buys it, we're confident.
Now, what about a customer brings a Journey or a Caravan in, and it's a no start issue, and there's maybe been some modifications made to the starting system, like because the key used to look like this, but now maybe I don't know, and you pardon my lack of familiarity,
Sure.
but maybe there's a button on top of the joystick that makes the car
Yes.
start. How would they approach that if it's brought into a shop? Should they immediately say, I mean, we can do our tests underneath, and it's like maybe test the starter,
Sure.
right? But if it's got a theft light on, Bob, how would you recommend to our listeners, how would they proceed from there?
Well, I can go back to the starting issue,
Okay.
because on some of the high-tech vans, there's like this simple procedure.
Mm-hmm.
There's usually a red button on a screen, but on the side there'll be a red button. You push that, and now the screen will light up, and it'll be lit up stop, and you'll push the one next to it that says start,
Okay.
and that's how the person's going to normally
Okay.
engage the starter.
Right.
If that doesn't work, back up, get out,
Yeah.
and Google mobility vehicle repair.
Right.
Find somebody nearby.
Okay. Good.
And I'll tell you that not every store does high-tech installs.
Right.
Okay. Now, something, let's say along any theft, we're not getting involved. It's factory.
Right.
We're only going to modify. There's some systems that will remove this transmission shifter.
Yeah.
It'll make it a solenoid,
Right.
and there'll be a touch button,
Yep.
park, reverse, whatever. Okay, but it's still a transmission out front.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if it leaks, it leaks.
Yeah.
If it's a Dodge Grand Caravan, it's going to leak. The hoses are going to leak, and you got to take the bumper cover off.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is never going to change.
Yeah.
But they try to stay away from really getting involved with factory stuff.
Yeah. Seamless integration of the
Yeah.
can. Yeah.
I mean, more and more, they're with the Dodge and the Chrysler. They've always been involved with the LIN bus, that part of it, because they're watching the door fall open.
Yeah.
Okay, but the rest of it, they don't care about. Can't see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just not interested. It's not. Oh, the injectors are doing that. That's nice. They don't care. They don't want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can see that, but I'm always thinking of because I can remember back in the dealership days at Chrysler, we did have one customer with one van, and we would work on it. And I remember because a modified floor pan. It wasn't I wasn't my ticket; it was somebody else's. But modified floor pan had moved the fuel pump ground.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you, and I have a slide that shows you the inside of a Pacifica from the factory.
Yeah.
And there's this all this black sheet metal, and then there's this trough with wires, and there's nothing in the middle.
Uh-huh.
So all your Chryslers, your airbag modules, where?
Right.
Center console.
Center console. Yeah.
Well, there's no more center console. Okay, let's get that right.
Yeah.
So Braun puts it, like where your coffee cups, we call that the center stack.
Yeah.
Well, they put in a fuse box back there, and they have a little shelf where that module is. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the new thing is that the wiring harnesses on the Pacifica line, they have built plug-and-play harnesses. They are not cutting and splicing those wires anymore.
Very nice.
Which is,
yeah.
now the only problem is, guess what color they all are?
White, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the little identifiers, which they give it to you in the wiring diagram. I never knew how to use the snippet thing on a computer.
Yeah.
To make it bigger. Because if you print it, there's no amount of magnification.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I learned how to do that. And now I have a magnifying glass at my toolbox. But Okay, they're there. They're labeled.
So essentially, they went to the Freightliner School of Wiring, which you've never worked on one, but they used to be all a white wire with a number on it. That after it was 3 or 4 years old, and you touch it with your finger, you'd wipe the number right off the wire.
Oh yeah,
It was
these are better
fantastic.
printed, and they are about every foot down the line.
Yeah.
They're good about that. But like half the BCM on a Pacifica, you're looking at the plugs and, oh, that one's factory. Oops, that one isn't.
Yeah.
And and now like a lot of times we need the 12-volt brake signal going out for like a certain hand controlled lock.
Yeah.
Well, it's not at the switch anymore.
Right.
That's CAN.
Yeah.
So you got to go to the BCM. Oh, yes, that's a plug with white wires. So you got to go find that. Now, you end up taking all the plugs out so you have enough movement to cut and solder wires together.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it's just, you learn that and you move on.
Now, what led you to this path? I mean, I kind of know some of the backstory, but like, you haven't always worked for Mobility Works in your career.
I'm in my 14th year.
As a tech.
As in Mobility Works.
Okay.
At Mobility Works. I was always a tech before that. Actually found it through Craigslist.
Okay.
I knew there was a shop. The culture's going.
Yeah.
Not where I want it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad, but you know what? There's got to be something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at what is this? So I had PTO, take a day.
Yeah.
I go in there, get the interview. Fill the form out, get an interview, and it's the service manager, store manager, and they're asking all the usual questions, whatever. I'll never forget. At the end, were the two questions. One was, how are you working with instructions, and also when you have to work outside the box? Well, I read really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Outside the box, I think I'm fine, but I guess somebody's going to say I can't, but I think I'm fine. Next, the question that got me was, well, do you have any problem working with the disabled? And I smirked. I didn't have the poker face ready. I had to explain. My younger brother had Down syndrome. My mother was part of a group of families that created a summer day camp for kids with disabilities, but it grew into a $50 million a year nonprofit in Philadelphia. So the deal is, this is not anything unusual to me.
Very used to that realm.
Yeah. Yes. Dad just knocked.
No worries.
Jim Morton. So I kind of you don't understand. They're not different.
Yeah.
My brother's my brother. I can throw snowballs at him.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
Yeah.
But that's the way you feel about your brother.
Yeah.
It's how it is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, real quick, I had to walk back out of this. And it was funny, there was a guy, and the other bar was took me on a tour of the shop, and I stepped into the service department, and I just stopped. I looked up, and I'm watching the ventilator, and there's a big pan moving, and I'm going, this is in August. And his service man goes, yeah, it's air conditioned. I said, I'm in.
I'm
like, I got my vote. So I learned that the guy had been working there. I was watching him one time. And we do what's known as fittings. So sometimes we have to do them before we put the work in. Sometimes, almost always, when it's done, to make sure it works for them and whatever.
Yeah.
You and me can adjust a lot of things in a car.
Yeah.
And move on. So I'm watching him, and I can just see the tension a little bit, but I see him every day, so that was the difference.
Yeah.
I'm like, Chris, so you, and I had to explain. He goes, yeah, sometimes I don't know how to get that comfort. I said, well, next fitting, if you want, I'm maybe no expert, but I've been around all my life. Let me do the fitting. We'll ask if you can observe, and we'll go from there. And I'll never forget the woman. Of course, it had to be this Ellen. I'll never forget Ellen. I'm fitting a lockdown, it's a box that resembles your door latch.
Okay.
It locks around a pin.
Yep.
But it's under the wheelchair.
Yep.
So the first thing is they get in, they find their spot, you adjust mirrors and whatever. Okay, everything good. Turn your chair off. Okay. We slide the box in, we're getting it right, and we're going to mark it before we drill holes.
Yeah.
I see the chair move. And I'm like, Ellen, oh, I'm just getting comfortable. And I'm like, okay. I go back to it. Now, the whole time her husband and the evaluator sitting in the back seat. And I know this guy, Tom.
Yeah.
And my hands go back because I'm trying to put masking tape and use a marker without really climbing in.
Yeah.
And I see the chair move. And I'm like, okay. I reach behind it where every power chair has a circuit breaker. Click. Well, Tom's hysterical. He keeps it in my... I look back and he's turning red. The husband, on the other hand, doesn't know where to go next.
Yeah.
And I'm like... I go back and all of a sudden she goes to turn it on and it ain't working. I said, Ellen, I turned it off. And I finished up what I was, and she said, you turned it off. I said, Ellen, I need these.
Yeah.
That 275-pound chair runs over them in that box. You don't get the box. You don't get the van.
Yeah.
I said, sorry. But I was just adjusting the seat. I don't care. If you bump the joystick, game's over.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you got to be very direct. I found that you treat them like I treat Jeff or anybody else, just like other people.
She was happy with the final placement?
Oh, yeah. She's thrilled.
Yeah.
She still was a customer. She comes in. Matter of fact, she followed me. That was at the one store, and she followed me to the store I'm at now. I'm in Cinnaminster, New Jersey. That was Norristown.
Right.
And she's like, she rolled in. She goes, where's Bob? Well, just tell me.
Yeah, he went to the
and
other
some
store.
people do that.
Yeah.
They follow you. And that's makes me feel good. But I really do believe that across the company, the level of service stays there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do know there's problems in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm the guy they will. Bob, do you think for a week or two you could go to this store because they're having issues with either installations being backed up or they had this problem? And I'm like, okay.
Go ahead.
No, I just did it 2 weeks ago. I'm coming back. I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to do this again.
So is it even harder in that kind of realm of Mobility Works to find a technician? Because you know how we talk, Bob, you and I talked about, like, there's such a, the stat that somebody shared with me, and it's like for every 5 technicians that are leaving, only one's coming in, right? Yeah. And we all talk about the technician shortage, but I have to think it's even harder in Mobility Works to try and get somebody because the level of, you can't just be a nuts and bolts kind of thing. You got to be able to think outside the box. Right. Got to have an understanding about electrical and programming and or not necessarily programming, but have to know how it makes it work. So when you put it in, it still works.
So you okay? So the nuts and bolt guy, who we would let do our brakes and tires and whatever else, and we're like, okay, that's the starting point.
Yeah.
So you come in, great. You got to be willing to take direction because you do not know this industry.
Yeah.
I don't know how Jeff's going to feel at this point of his life and coming in and having Bob tell him what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
Because when I was doing training, I used to say, like, guys, we only do things this way, one way. It should look any different. If I do it, you do it, he does it. I don't care. The only difference is hand controls. They have to meet requirements. Everything else, it's cookie cutter. Once you know how.
Yep.
But there's still right ways. Like, example. So these lockdown boxes, we're going to drill through the floor of the van. Mm-hmm. And we're going to put big displacement washers. So the company converts the Sienna from 21 up. Okay. They move the battery. They put it in the back.
Yeah.
Under where the luggage is. They do very good work. But now, on the inside of that frame rail, there's a big shiny silver tube with an orange kind of a Chinese finger sleeve over it that goes to the back. So when you do that lockdown for a driver, there's 3 bolts and 3 bolts. Guess where these bolts? I'm telling you, I was down training in DeKalb, and they had their first one.
Drilled it in the battery?
No.
Okay.
The lines are there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, they were asking me, and I'm like, let's put it up on a lift. Let's let's look. So we're like measuring. Okay, so we just did a pilot tiny hole, like on the left side. We were pretty sure that side was clear. So they actually made a plate that kind of mocked it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, cool. It was just too close. It could be, but here's the thing. That tube was only mounted with like 12 peak lamps.
Yeah.
So we took those out, unclipped some wire ties from the wire harness, took a ratchet strap and just pulled it over 8 inches. It had slack.
Right.
You're not yanking the hell out of these high voltage cords. Moved it over. Now go drill away. Have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing you do is put it back. Unlike another company that does the all-wheel drive, and they run the cables under the vehicle conversion, and you know the test they tell you, the megameter, and it should be like this.
Yeah,
and this.
yeah.
I failed one. That's a real moment when you see 550, yeah, 550, yeah, 1.3.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, and it's just because you don't stuff an elephant
Yeah.
into the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And they sent another one out, sent that one back fast as they could. And I actually modified how it was in there. The guy was doing it. But here's the problem. It's on a lift.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. You can't push hot HV vehicles around. Not that we had a lot of places to push, but we didn't have to go jacks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing's now stranded a lift.
Yeah.
And it's not like a dealership where there's a bunch of lifts. We had 2.
Yeah.
So now it's like, oh, waiting for it to come in. But we do the Siennas.
Yeah.
So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I know it's that tech shortage thing right now.
Yeah, we have big problems in some of the stores. I am telling you. They could literally have me travel constantly.
Yeah. Well,
except our store would throw a hissy fit because I'm kind of, after all this time, the go-to.
Yeah.
Who can do this, do that, whatever. They don't want to give that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it would be, to somebody unfamiliar with the realm, it'd be very intimidating, I think, to look at some of those because, I've looked at enough conversion vans at the day of the dealer, and they might have only been there just for an oil change. Like, I didn't touch anything, They still had some working controls that, I could drive it in. Hand controls, I could drive hand controls in. But, man, when I would see some of the wiring modifications,
yes,
I was like, oh, thank God I'm not touching that.
One of the rules, and I don't even know if that company's used anymore, but almost every mobility vehicle, whatever equipment, can be driven by an able body. Even that high tech that I talked about.
Yeah.
When it starts up, one of the first screen has a white bar. Do you wish to use the OEM controls?
Yeah.
And then as you're driving, that same bar says, stop looking at the screen and look at traffic. Don't keep looking back at the pretty picture.
Yeah.
And there's really none out there that can't be.
Right.
You can't drive. And drive with your feet, steer. There are ways to disable.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. What's the cost factor like? A lot of money?
It can be. I don't know a lot of the cost of the products that we install.
Right.
I've always tried to stay at it.
Stay at
it. You know what it's like. You got enough to keep in your head. Don't really need that. But I can tell you that one of the conversions, if you take a Toyota Sienna with all the goodies in it, and it gets converted, it rolls off the truck currently at $101,500.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's a little bit more than at the Toyota dealer.
Yeah.
They used to be like $22,000 more. Now it's gotten to be more because, and it's not just inflation and all that.
Yeah.
It's the cost of the vehicles originally, and now what you're trying to get around, what you have to encompass in your conversion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Especially like the Sienna.
Yeah.
The 2 companies that are doing those are moving the battery.
Yeah.
One moves to the back, one moves it from under the front seats to under the front floor. That's a cost.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Now, I got to ask, going forward with the more and more and more of the EV coming into the market, from a mobility standpoint at EV, do you welcome that or does it, the fact that you're going to have a giant battery in the floor pan of a lot of cars, does it add another obstacle to your line of business, your line of work?
It's, I don't know. You were around with carburetors.
Yeah.
Then they said fuel injectors. Yep, just another thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to put them under the intake? Okay, just another thing.
Yeah.
You know, the spider web from GM. I don't think that's good. It doesn't matter. It's there. Okay, nobody. My line is they didn't ask me.
Yeah.
You just kind of
adapt.
You keep an eye on what's coming out. You look. Most of the companies are pretty good about sharing information. We're doing this next year. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Pacificas that are converted lowered floor. None of those are hybrid. We've had a hybrid in. No, I think it was the gas end plug-in that got hand controls and a special seat that board came out, took him up, he transferred, and then a mechanical lift on the sliding driver's door that would grab his manual chair and bring it in. Mm-hmm. So, but I put plenty of hand controls and left foot gas pedals in hybrid vehicles, and full EVs. I did a Volvo on it, and I wasn't sure where the cables were going. Yeah. Like I'm looking at the plug by the front 8-pillar, and I'm going, this could be a problem. I called Volvo dealer. Matter of fact, the customer got me the service guy. And, look, it takes another day or two. It takes another day or two. Yeah. That drill bit. You know the old line about can't put the bullet in the barrel? Yep. Can't put the drill bit back out of the hole. Yeah. And it would bite. It would be ugly. And I've heard horror stories outside the company that I'm so glad I had no experience with.
So you're teaching this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm doing the Tech Talk presentation, and I'm going to kind of do half and half talking about my industry and please don't do this, like we've been discussing here.
Right.
And then I have a couple case studies involving converted vans. But if you would call me and say, Bob, I'm losing, I'm losing all my 12 volts when I do this, I'd be like, okay, I can send you the locations where it is to go look, so you're not tearing a van apart.
Right.
Because my last one case study shows what happens when Bob, 6 months in, had to tear a floor out because the CAN network wires had been gotten dissolved by water that was laying in there.
Right.
But unfortunately, that was after he put a Honda door operator in, because the test, and I did them twice and wrote them down, said it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about load testing things because not really thinking about where the wires were.
Right.
And now I know better.
So that goes back to just a fundamental, lesson that most technicians eventually learn, the difference, right, between a 12 volts on a meter and a loaded test.
But like I was there and I'm like, I'm not thinking about what those wires are under the floor.
Yeah.
And then we find out over time that particular year had a water intrusion problem. Mm-hmm. So
you see things come from body shops that cause issues. He's laughing like he knew I was going to ask that question.
As soon as he said body shop, that's funny. So recently, there's some agency, and I don't know why they keep taking their vehicles when they have a problem. Well, I know why they started taking it to a body shop, but it came in on a flatbed, no passenger sliding door, and the sliding door separate. Okay, like it had fallen off. Yeah, fallen off. Let's go down that road. It's Pacific. So, okay, so we see that. We see things where after the repair, now things don't work. And it's the other thing is, so these lowered floor pans, they used to be available from the conversion companies. Mm-hmm. So if they got damaged to some extent, so if you think of the regular sliding door, they extend it, and there's a metal extension, then the plastic flare. So that's all available. They won't sell those floor pans anymore because they're crash tested.
Right.
So they can't really trust Now I know there's I-Core certification for body shops, and that's pretty much up there. And I've seen body shops, because it's basic sheet metal. I've seen them fix certain things, and I don't have a problem. But yeah, I've seen some things come from body shops, and
because I must think that'd have to be even a harder vehicle from an estimator standpoint of whether they write it off or not, because the value of the car now becomes much higher than just a stock Sienna,
Right.
and the damage that would sustain would be like, oh, that's a total loss.
Right.
Whereas one of these cars now,
yes, you're absolutely right. And the other part of that is, okay, so your insurance is going to cover a rental car. Thank you. There's the look I was
how
waiting for.
does that work for your customer?
Guess what? It covers a rental mobility van. Now,
Yeah.
we rent vans, but I will tell you that the guy up front that does that, he usually doesn't have many sitting around. It's not like there's. If I see one sitting around, he's probably holding it for the day for service.
Right.
It's gotten over. He wants to get it done today. Out. Yeah, the insurance companies have to be, and the customers will be like. Sometimes they'll bring the van and go, "We want you to double check the estimate because it wasn't in the air,
Right.
or this or that," and you do it, and you get talking, and they'll say. Yeah, they only want to give me $50 a day for rental, and your rental, I'm just using a number, and your rental is $150. I'll do that for a month.
Yeah.
I don't want to foot that bill.
Nope.
But one person had over coverage because of the van, and guess what? I don't care if he had the coverage. When they took on that insurance, they knew what the vehicle was.
Yeah.
So they knew what was coming. They didn't insure, a huge dump truck at the rate of a Chevy. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
They knew what was coming next. So I said, no, you gotta go fight and tell them they have to pay for the rental.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the body shop, that particular one, the body shop, I didn't like the estimate. I was like, you're gonna drive home past this other one that we've used quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll call ahead. I would like you, I'll put my notes, and I would like you to stop there, because if you don't get covered, supplementing's a big problem
Yeah.
with us, because now the parts delay. It can take a couple weeks to get something.
There's so many ripples to this kind of section of our industry that I've never even thought of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think from the technician standpoint, you might see one parked in a parking spot.
Yeah.
Or you might have one come into your shop, but I mean, there's so much more to it than just that. Right? Like, what's kind of, other than the don't touch kind of thing, what advice can you give the listeners to when you see these kind of cars?
Treat them like anything else, right up until something you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying panic up.
Yeah.
Like, great example, Dodge Grand Caravan. There's a zillion of them out there, whether they're converted or not. But if they're converted, the door module is just like the one you could buy from Chrysler.
Yeah.
But the motor and the track are not.
Right.
Because they're extended.
Yeah.
So it looks the same right until the moment you can't get it in there.
Yeah.
Now you're in a bad place. That's when you got to say, just call somebody. I'm telling you, we both know how easy Google is. Just do it, zip it, whatever it is, and there, ask. Now, if you don't get your answer, call the next one.
Now, this company, Mobility Works, is it all the way across the U.S.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It started, the original company I worked with was Rodaway.
Okay.
And they were bought, became part of Mobility Works. Very, very strong presence, East Coast, from the Northeast down to Florida and the South. But I know there's like 4 or 5 in Texas, 4 or 5 in California, and we go up to Washington State. So I think we're at 105, 110.
Wow.
Look, executive branch doesn't call and tell me when they buy something.
Yeah.
But they're basically just assimilating in the smaller 2 or 3 branch companies and moving on.
I wish I knew how it worked in Canada. I can remember seeing way back, this is going back almost 20 years ago, I can remember somebody telling me that they thought a bunch of the conversion vans were built in Quebec. But I can't. I've never, couldn't tell you. I remember a name of the conversion vans or something. The two names you mentioned that were already like the floor pan conversion.
Braun and VMI.
I've seen both of those a lot. Braun, especially even in Canada, I've seen a lot.
Braun
of those.
is in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So they're literally drive around the corner and north, and you're there.
Yeah.
VMI is actually in Phoenix, but they're a big company.
Yeah.
I know the only two Canadian companies I know. It's Sure Grip Hand Control, and I want to get it right. Adapt Solutions. They make seats and other things that we install.
Yeah.
But neither one of those they don't modify.
Right. And I remember talking years ago. I had a job where I worked on a company fleet of ambulances. And so I kind of had dabbled and touched on the modified vehicle thing, right, for a while. And then in my local town, there is a whole other separate bus fleet for the city transit that is all mobility equipped vans. They're older, E450 style, like they look like school buses, right? But they got the side door and the lift that goes in and all that jazz.
Right.
I've never had the chance to do anything on them other than like a front end inspection, you know what I mean? A brake job. Like I've never been able to touch it. I know that for a long time they were using, it was funny again, the city, these very expensive, very, vital vans, and they were going to one of the like cheapest shops in the city to touch them because all their, like the way it works up here, Bob, is like the city fleet is handled by a hired staff of mechanics all under the city employee union, right?
Okay.
So they didn't even want to touch these things. So they subbed them all out to this little, I remember going in because I was looking for a technician. I walked in and saw the facility, and I'm going, you service vans like that here? Oh, yeah. Like, I don't think it had all dirt floors by then, Bob, but it was like, and I'm thinking, so.
Yeah, I mean, and you talk about the lifts, they pretty much, especially from Braun, they haven't changed.
Yeah.
Once you know the system, they kind of work the same over and over and like disc brakes, they work the same way, and they just once you get it down, the biggest problem I have with new guys is it's called the interlock. So it's got to be in park. Got to have the parking brake on. It sounds silly, but the doors have to be open for the lift. That's really, the doors have to be closed so it'll come out of park later.
Right.
They'll chase electrical gremlins inside the pump container box, and I'll walk up, and unfortunately they're using a test light, and I don't care, and I back probe the one wire. I'm like, you got to have that. You got to have that should have lit up.
Yeah. And
it's, the pretty lights under the dash right there? One of them's missing. You got to go fix that. So it's like everybody says, it's the simple stuff that gets guys. You know, it really is just silly stuff that.
So what's kind of, let's move towards that, where what do you see when you see a young technician come into the industry, or even somebody that walks into your shop that starts and maybe doesn't make it, or where's the weaknesses? I know, it's a good question.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
I will say that you have to, first off, you have to follow the instructions. It's not up to us to say, well, no, I'm going to do it this way. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you're not. Okay? You're not going to do it that way. We are not engineers. The moment we skip outside when I say outside the line, that's what we have to fabricate. Like, you might have to build a box for someone who's very short, their feet go on, or something like that. But as far as the vendor sending you something to put in, you will do it the way they say.
Yeah.
We don't get an option.
Yeah.
So that's, and I don't know if it's just reading comprehension or they just read it. They just think, oh, okay, or I saw it done once, and they move on.
That's a flat rate mentality, Bob, coming up.
Yeah, but we don't look.
Yeah.
There's nobody in any service department. Well, okay, I'm sure there's. We're not there.
Yeah.
We're hourly. It gets done right. Oh, by the way, after you installed it, something you should know. Somebody else is
inspecting.
We work on a tablet.
Yeah.
So the vehicle's here. We weigh it before, we weigh it after. We take pictures of what we did, according to what it says. We did it, and then you're done. You hand it to somebody. It says secondary inspection. So someone else who knows what they're doing is going to check it. Don't take it personal.
Right.
By the way, they do it on all the professional race teams, okay?
Yeah.
And that's what some guy finally told me. He says, why would they bother them? Mm-hmm. You know, and it's one of those things. Like, we always get into the habit of, if we're doing hand controls, we have like the dash down. Before you put the dash up, leave the wrenches and say, hey, you want to double check it now? Mm-hmm. Because no reason he should have to climb the hard way.
Yeah.
You know, that ain't right. The other thing is probably basic electric. Okay, and that's the industry.
Yeah.
You know,
I just finished talking to the people from Promotive, and I said, so what's the one request that when they're talking to a shop, what kind of technician do you need right now? Resounding 95% are asking for a diagnostic tech, right, Bob? Like, it's just.
And when you say diagnostic tech,
what does that
it's
really mean?
In our world, we're not under the hood.
Yeah.
I don't need to put an amp clamp on injector or this or that or what or no.
Yeah.
I'm talking about basic 12 volts.
Yep.
Okay, I'm talking about basic scan tool functions. Or, okay, even if there isn't a code, let me go into the data and get to that. Okay, here's a great one for the Chrysler tech. You love this one. I'm training a group, and I got the Y tech, and I show them that on the passenger side, they've gone from door counts 2 inches. Because from the B pillar to the door, on our vans, it's 36 inches. Okay, I'm good with that. So I go around the driver's side and said, now, one of you guys find that. I want you to be able to find it. I'm waiting. Drinking my coffee. I'm like, come on, guys. You have to know that it says inches. If you're in the right module somewhere down the line, there's nothing here. Mm-hmm. I go over. I'm like, well, I know what it says. I know what PID I'm looking for. I double click it. The driver's side's in percentage. That's Chrysler. The conversion company can't do that. I'm like, they can't rewrite Chrysler.
Yeah.
This is the wide tech. I'm like, are you kidding me? you change it from door counts. I get it. It's a new van. But why is it different?
On one side versus the other.
To the other side. I get enough trouble teaching these guys right now. So basic scan tool usage.
Yeah.
Basic, DVOM. If I could get every shop to get check engine chucks, load box.
Yeah.
And like brake in case of everyday use, put it there. They don't understand it.
Well, and I've said that for so many years, and people, I can remember back before I ever had a podcast. Like back before there was ever any of these groups, like I would just talk in the forums on Facebook. Oh, I checked it. I got Power and Ground. How'd you check it? What do you mean, stupid? What do you mean, how did I check it? I unplugged it and I put a meter there. Okay, so just try this. Why would I do that? Test lights are going to cause the car to burn down. I'm like, okay, never mind. And then, you know what I mean? You're trying to teach somebody a lesson, Bob, and all of a sudden it ends up in an argument. And it ends up in a completely, you just took the thing and drove it right off the tracks of what was going to be a really good learning method.
Yeah.
Opportunity. Somebody's like, no, I don't want to hear it.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah, bye.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
I'll give you a great one. Right out of a factory module. Manual. Fuel pump module.
Yeah.
They tell you got your scan tool right there. So you can run the damn thing. You can turn this thing on. Unplug it. Check for power and ground.
Yep.
Go right across it. Check your 12 volts.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got a better idea.
Yeah.
I leave it plugged in and I back probe it and run this thing.
Sure.
And I'm going to see if there's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. This is the factory manual. And someone didn't believe me. Matter of fact, it was Jim Morton. He really was like, no way. And I printed it out. Next time I saw him, God, there it is. And there's their letterhead right on top. I don't make this stuff.
No.
Look, I'm not saying everyone's should be perfect, but come on. By this day and age,
Yeah.
things like voltage drop, using an amp clamp, they should be routine.
Yeah.
They should be is the battery good?
Mm-hmm.
The store I'm at now, when I first got there, they had a Pacifica shutting off at weird times. They actually bought it back, gave me another one. It was doing weird. I mean, come to a light. It was always when it was near a stop. Okay. So I'm gonna start at the beginning. 'Cause I've been burned.
Yeah.
Pop the hood, put my negative lead, and you know how the Pacific's got that big block. So I get on the end, and it just goes wee. It's going everywhere. I'm going, are you kidding me? You're really kidding me with this? Is this like a setup? I'm looking around for a camera. And,
Yeah.
You know, I tightened it up. We gave it to our driver. I said, let me know if it ever breaks down.
Yeah.
That van is still at our store because that's our chase vehicle. But it's like, it was all over a 10 millimeter nut being tightened. From the it was Friday afternoon, Monday morning. I don't really care. I'm a human.
Yeah.
I've made plenty of mistakes, usually when I get out of bed.
I can still remember an older Chrysler Caravan. I don't remember if it was Town and Country or what. I want to say around 2006 vintage, right?
Okay.
And there was all kinds of problems with the BCM kind of circuits in the van. Intermittently, though. And I remember I'm like, well, where's that ground? Well, it's on the A-pillar behind all the, things and all that kind of jazz. And I get looking at it, and it's like this van had been driving the shop nuts for like a year and a half for this intermittent complaint. Because it would take a while, and then all of a sudden happen. And I'm like, where's the bloody ground? And I pull it off, and it's literally like I could reach in. I'd never been in a wreck, never been in a body shop, and I could reach in and touch the nut and just kind of spin it with my fingers.
Yeah.
On the ground.
I've seen it. There was a case. Matter of fact, the guy was down here with me from the Raleigh store. He was getting his butt handed to him on a Traverse that had been out of the store converted for like 9 months. It had some modified steering, shifter. Well, now, you love this. If you hit the washer pump, it shuts off.
Oh man.
And you want to talk about like you're making stuff up.
Yeah.
And it'll be unable to start anywhere from 2 minutes to 2 hours with no reason. So we're going back and forth. And like, we get to the point of disconnect that washer pump and see what happens. It doesn't do it. Okay. Put a 11th bulb across this thing.
Yeah.
And it happens. I'm like, what the hell? So it was near the end of the day. I'm like, just let's go home. Whatever. I'm on the phone. Let's just go. So, of course, what do? I got all the printouts. I'm home. Looking. And all of a sudden, I realize the washer pump, the BCM,
yes,
and the starter are at a ground in the engine compartment.
Yeah.
And I'm going, there's no way this thing is starting normally until you do that. And then it's... So I left like 2 voice messages overnight on his phone. I had his cell phone. I'm like, no, I'm not going to bother. But at like 8:01, I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you got to go out. I says, in the shop? He goes, yeah, you got to go out and find this G301. It says it's here. Why? Just please go there, get a socket wrench. I don't care. And tighten it. It was loose. It was all but ready to come off. But I couldn't figure it out. How it was good all that time and why the washer pump was the load that was the end of it.
Yeah.
And it must have been making the customer. They have this new vehicle with all this stuff, and now they can finally get out on the road. They have that freedom again. And God forbid they have to wash the windshield.
Yeah. Do you feel good at the end of the day, not just from the standpoint that you're helping people, but like I want to think like where the world has gone in the last 10 years, 20 years, right? You see a lot of veterans.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting subject. We see a lot of veterans, and okay, so the VA, let's say active duty injured, things like that, they're great.
Yeah.
They can roll over every 3 or 4 years. That'll keep you're getting a lot of your equity back in the vehicle, and they will buy new equipment to put it in.
Yeah.
We don't transfer the equipment.
Right.
Okay. That part that's great. Older vets, what we see is a lot of powered chairs and scooters, but they need a way to transport, so they're getting those outside lifts.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes, first off, God, I shouldn't say this. I really should not go down this road. Okay. So, think of flat rate warranty, and cut it down to a third of that, and that's what we're getting.
Put an outside lift on.
And or receiver. It just, if two of us that really know our game and had the tools laid out like a surgeon, and we're still not going to get it done in what they allot.
Yeah.
Okay, it is what it is. It's part of what we do. But some of the devices and setups, we turned away two of them. We knew right away. I'm like, no, weigh that vehicle for me, please. And I'm like, no. When we had that weight, no, I can't delete a seat. I can't take a seat out because they get like 150 pounds per person, 275 for a wheelchair in our vans. It's going to be over the cargo. I said, no, we can't do that. So some guy did it in the driveway. I'm like, as long as it wasn't done here, I really don't care. But that part, they take care of them. Yes, we do see a lot.
Yeah.
It's funny, for summer, I guess it's 4 years now, I was down and back and forth to Norfolk from like the Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
Just because the service department was gone for whatever reason. Who cares? Saw a lot of vets there because they're right down there.
Yeah.
Virginia Beach, Norfolk.
Yeah.
I was like, is that the only people? Then it dawned on me. And all the things were kind of geared to what the veterans needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see a good amount. We see there's a lot of agents. You talked about price earlier. Yeah, I wouldn't want to cut the check. I'll be honest. But now you get the finance companies will go 10 and 12 years. So it's bearable. There's a lot of, I'll say, funding agencies that are out there, and there's CMC, as we refer to them, but salesperson I've known forever, Stacy, who knows where they all are.
Yeah.
She's like, just give me a minute, and I'll call you back in a couple days, and she knows where to go.
Yeah.
That works for them. It's always been like the active duty VA that it's full funding. Workman's comp, car accidents, they're paid, and they pay forever because that's how it works.
Yeah.
And then you get to different levels of whatever, and that's its own section of this industry. I'm so glad I ain't doing it. Mm-hmm. It's just
Do you see this kind of mobility like as a growing facet of the industry?
I definitely think it's here to stay.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Okay, I don't think it's going to drop. Growing. I think some of the equipment, yes, because more and more people are realizing they're growing into the equipment. Like we used to only do electronic left foot gas pedals one every other month, and we were like, no, bring vehicle in. We want to see how we can. What structure's there? Now we're doing 2, 3, 4 a month. It's become a lot more casual to the guys doing it. The way hand controls are first, we're like, okay, we know what we're doing. Here we go. Yeah. I think more of that. I think that would depend more on where the money's coming from. If there is the funding, if there's the insurance or whatever, that will kind of, like everything else.
Yeah.
That will determine. If someone goes to the dealer and buys a new car, the money is going to determine how long they're going to keep the car.
Yeah.
I
can say this. I've seen a lot of the older vans that I'm still seeing around in my area are all of our conversions, and I always equated that to like the investment that had been made into that van right from the thing made that the customer was not going to just flip it in 5 years and it'd be crushed into a cube. That becomes a very viable vehicle for either continuing repair or resale again and again to somebody else. Because
still see the big Ford 250E, 350s.
I saw a 2003 converted Caravan back home last week, right? And you're like, we don't see many other 2003 Caravans on the road. If they are absolutely rot boxes. This was not a rot box.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's because, again, that person who still has it, they're probably not the original owner of that van, but it's still somebody that needs that van for that reason. And it's like, it needs another transmission. Yeah, so I mean, lots of 03 Caravans by now are probably on their 5th transmission.
Yeah, well,
You know?
if they're lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one of my, when I talk in public, and one of my key things, I'll say it to a group, I'll say, okay, I want you everybody to picture the car keys that are in your pocket. Now, if your car didn't start, but you had to get to work, you're going to go back in, take the wife, the daughter, the kids, I don't care. You can get a cab, Uber, whatever. Yeah. Worst case, you're actually going to get on public transit. I know we never do that as mechanics.
Yeah.
But you have a way. Guys, and then I'll do my whole spiel, and at the very end, I'll be like, hey, y'all remember them car keys? I want you to think about it. I just took them all. And your wife's out. She can't come and get you. Let's just add in the fact that the power wheelchair weighs 275 pounds and you weigh 225 pounds. I want you to tell me how you're getting into your Chevy Silverado. So when I tell you don't break these things, take your time, ask questions, make the phone call. This is the only way.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of customers go to work every day like me and you. They go to work, they go food shopping, they take the kids, whatever. So they need the vehicle. It's to them, it's everyday normal.
The reality of like a person's vehicle is their freedom.
Yes,
is amplified hugely with your customer demographic.
Oh yeah, when my customer picks up a vehicle after they get whatever installed or that it's just whatever it is, they say thank you. You can wish Hallmark get that kind of genuineness into a card because I can't tell you the amount of hugs I get, the amount of times people try to tip me, which is like, no. And I had to learn a line, and it was, oh, do you tip your dentist?
Yeah.
When you get done, and you can smile brightly, or and I'll pick some other things. I say, you said thank you. One couple, and it was done wrong by another agency down in South Carolina and whatever. They had to drive up to Jersey, and they called ahead, and so we had to replace the hand controls. And while I'm doing it, the transfer seat has a footrest. Well, it has these height adjusts. They never cut them for height. Well, it only went back 3 inches instead of going back 2 feet for him to jump in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I fixed that. I got the hand controls where they belong. Everything's good. She tried to hand me money. They drove back down on a Sunday. On Monday, our conference table was filled with lunch for the store. And they called like a couple times. That's it. You know, because if somebody complains about you, they know how to go above you.
Oh, yeah,
They know the chain. They're going to go up. I always say, you find that same chain of command and say how happy you are. If you will do that, you don't have that kind of money to make me happy.
Yeah.
If you do that, because that's the good news. And you're right. That freedom, and it's funny that we use that word, and it's in our mission statement kind of thing. But when you say it, then you see people going, yeah. Even if you're just transporting a child.
Yeah.
Like my wife had the kid in school. She has brittle bone syndrome. Don't ask me to say the medical term. Literally been to the hospital 200 times, being picked up by a parent who knew better by the age of 16 or 17. Okay? 200 x-rays and whatever. They finally, my wife didn't know about the mobility vans. Sent them to me. I sent them to salespeople. You want to talk about ear to ear, hurt the ear smile. We still hear from them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, she hasn't broken a bone since. And it's like, okay, that makes a difference. There you go. Quality of life. That's a valuable quality of life. That's not just saying, okay.
It's changing people's lives versus just fixing the car, which in the thing we empower people through fixing the vehicle.
Right.
But this is next level. This is changing somebody's life.
Right. If you're working at a good shop and the customers know, they have a confidence. They know they can drive on vacation. They know they going back and forth, taking the kids. It's safe. It's dependable. because they're following your recommendations. We're a step or two along that and going like it's the only way they're going.
Yeah.
So
will we see more of you at these events teaching?
I hope so,
Yeah.
or at least kind of giving an exposure presentation.
Yeah.
I don't think I want guys, the technicians, to come here and learn how to do it. That's
Right.
not going to do them
Yeah.
any favors. There's just not going to be enough guys who want to know how. I really want people to know the dangers,
The
what to
awareness.
do, what not to do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to make it a big stop sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I also want them to know, like I know the one slide I'm going to show, and my wife is like, "You're going to show that?" I'm like, "I'm going to show that." It's the one that every wife wants installed. It's the driver's evaluator, passenger side brake pedal. I could just see guys going like, "No, you're not going to offer." Yeah, and yeah, we do hand controls that go in and out for driver evaluators.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that one's for the VA.
Very
Different
cool.
ones go in and out, plug in, whatever. But yeah, they love that brake pedal. Oh yeah, and I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I hope to be.
Awesome. Well, I hope that we get to see you again.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. Thank you for coming here and doing this with me.
Thank
I've
you.
I've been trying to, we
Yeah,
talked
we-
about doing it, but you're a busy man and I'm a busy man, and it's hard to nail everything down.
I know it's always.
Yeah. I wish I could
something
be in
going
the
on.
class. I think it'd be very cool, but I'll be down here recording. So.
Okay.
But I'll try at another event. I will try to, if
Yeah.
you can come to Tools. And,
Oh, I
and-
wasn't.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're at
Oh, I'll go to Tools. I drive there.
Yeah.
That's like 2
I
hours.
know.
Not even a 2 hour drive.
So if you can present at Tools, I'd love to sit through the class.
did they do? I'll have to try to get a hold of the people.
We'll
who
get a
run
hold
it.
of Brett. We'll get a hold of Brett.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Okay.
Thank you very much, brother.
You
We'll
got
talk
it,
to you
man.
soon.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.